Welcome and from one of our personal video hubs or our business and wellness centers. My business partner is Steve Partos, and as you see, we're both in input from audio and video in these sites by either one of us. This morning, and it's morning for me, I don't know if you can see behind me the morning sun steaming behind me. It's one of my favorite times in my home office when it's so beautiful and not quite hot yet, although it is winter here in Australia. Today I'm focusing on a topic of great passion for me, and it's called staying well in a modern world. And like for many people, staying well became a passion for me when I got sick. It's a dichotomy, isn't it? Many years ago now, that was, where I guess in a nutshell, I could say that Western medicine failed me, and complementary choices allowed me to thrive and return to wellness. And through that journey, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about staying well. Learned a lot about returning to wellness, helping myself and others, troubleshooting tips. And I think it's a really, really important topic, and one that's I guess in dire need on the planet today for many reasons. Just to know a little bit about me is that I was a critical care nurse, and that was a great career. I loved it. I worked in that for almost 2 decades, and I worked in great areas that I felt really passionate about, and I was skilled, and I could tell I made a difference. But there came a time when I just knew there was more out there for me, and thank goodness, as God has it, or the universe, whoever you know as the greater power out there, guided me to this education, and it was a life-saving guidance. It really made a difference for me. So I'm going to be doing a series of what I consider are the top 10 tips for those of you out there striving and looking to be the best you can be in wellness and looking after yourself from a complementary or a more natural point of view. And that's not to exclude Western medicine. I'd like to premise right from the beginning. It's, the best approach, in my opinion, and my experience, is to use a combination of both Western medicine and complementary choices, and that's called something called integrative medicine, and I believe that is the way of the future, and it's something that each and everybody should study, know about, and integrate into their life, really. So my top number one wellness tip is educate yourself firstly to understand what wellness is. What is wellness? It's not simply the lack of sickness, is what I've learned. Wellness is like peak vitality. It's about having enough energy to do what you want to do. The other thing about wellness is it's different for each of us, isn't it? I know I've got friends who, if they would have experienced some of the things that I've experienced in my life, might have been just not coping at all, whereas I always kept going. That was just my mindset, and maybe possibly my constitution. It also was possibly, if you look at it, kind of a strength and a weakness. So is it the right thing to keep going through illness? It's all relative, isn't it? And if you think about that, maybe it depends. There's not going to be one answer to that. The other thing is to understand about, I think, if you're looking at what wellness is, you need to understand a little bit about biology at the very basic level. The number one thing is that the only way that we can be fully well is if we're well right from the cells up, right from that very bottom level. You need to be well at the place, which it doesn't make sense because you can't feel whether your cells are well or not. And that's why people have this experience, and put your hand up. I know probably all of us either know or experience or have experienced someone with cancer in our life. And typically they have even had a recent checkup and have got the all clear. Or maybe they've had a few niggling little symptoms, but nothing's very clear and nothing's showing up in blood work or any of the Western medical things. And then all of a sudden there's this something that tips it over the edge, and then there's a disastrous diagnosis. And that's the problem. That's the key thing I'm talking about. We can't feel what's happening at the cell level. So wellness is about a proactive approach prior to having symptoms, really. And I guess to be fair to myself and possibly to some of you watching this right now, most of us aren't educated from that point of view. I was educated to wait till I got sick and then go to the doctor. And that is very much a sickness approach, a sickness mentality, not wellness. So wellness is the complete opposite. It's looking at the subtle things and taking action on those before you're in that situation where you tip yourself over the cliff and you're needing the ambulance at the bottom to pick you up. The other thing is, I think when I'm talking about that cell, the last thing I'll leave you with on this point is when we're talking about that cell level wellness, there's a new area of technology, and I'll talk about that in later videos, but it's something that's looking at our cell communication process at that very basic level. And there's new science that's been developed in really the last 20 years on the science level, but available to us lay people, available as education in this area is starting to expand, possibly only the last 10, 15 years. And that cell surface glycoproteins, that's responsible for our cellular alphabet, is also foundational for wellness, and that's something that I'm looking forward to expanding on in later videos. I hope you got some idea, and I'd like to leave you with a little bit of wellness work, not homework, but wellness thoughts. Is take a look at what wellness is for you. Where on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you sitting right now, and is that something that is where you want to be? Do you want to take action? Would you like to learn what the first steps would be? Would you like to do a little wellness quiz so that you can possibly self-diagnose where you should first take action? I know any action you take towards wellness, and we'll be talking about quite a few steps in the next 9 wellness tips. Any action you take is going to move you towards wellness and away from, what would that be? At the extreme far other end of that dichotomy is death, isn't it? So many people are cruising along happy in the middle. Some people want to be at 100% and continue to strive for that. It's a personal choice, but maybe have a thought about that, and where are you right now in that continuum, and where would you like to be? So, hey, thanks for listening. I look forward to meeting you again, and I'm excited to be going on the wellness journey with you. Talk to you soon.